Good morning, St. Francis, and good morning, people of God. It is Tuesday, the 28th day of March, 2023, Tuesday of the 5th week of Lent. It is the 31st day of Lent. 9 more days left to our Lenten journey. 1 month ago, I became 60. Yay! Okay, so here I am on the field, back in Raleigh after some travels away. All last week was ridiculous. But back in Raleigh now as we get ready, less than a week a little bit more than a week until the Paschal Triduum begins next Thursday on Holy Thursday. So there's a lot of work that needs to be done as we get ready for the great feasts that won for us so wonderful a salvation. So on this, coming to you from our great field, as you can see, it is set up. We have soccer, lacrosse, softball, baseball. All these, I think 4 different sports. Yeah, soccer, lacrosse, baseball, softball. Yeah, that happened on this field. And so setting up for games today. There's also way in the back, at least there was. I don't know where they went to. There was a gym class out here too. But on this Tuesday of the 5th week of Lent, the reading comes from Numbers, again, which is usually about counting out how many tribes of Israel and who comprised what tribes of Israel and things like that, and taxes and levies and things like that, and how to build the temple and stuff like that. So, but in it is this incident in which the Israelites are on the journey away from Egypt after being liberated from slavery there, on the way to the Red Sea, and already they are grumbling and complaining about that there's no food to eat, or that I think it's past the Red Sea, and that there's no food to eat because they only have manna and they want something more delicious, and they had better food in Egypt, and why wouldn't they just stay in Egypt? And they're forgetting everything that God did for them. So God sends some snakes to bite them, and they get sick, and because that's sometimes how God is. God's a little bit vindictive in the Old Testament. And so, and they pray to Moses, and Moses lifts up a bronze serpent on a pole or whatever it is, an Asherah pole, which is, again, if you look at ancient archaeology and things like that, they were kind of poles that were set up to protect people. It's a little bit of kind of non-Jewish things with Jewish things. It's all this mixing, something that happens in these early stages of Israel. And they look upon the serpent on this pole, and they are healed because God takes pity on them after God sends the serpents, because, again, God was a little bit vindictive. The point of the matter is that when we come back down to John's Gospel and the continuing kind of debates and antagonistic debates that Jesus keeps having with Jewish authorities, they again are refusing to believe that he says that he is who he says he is, and that there is this possibility that he could be more than just the carpenter's son, or more than just a wonder worker, or more than just a great speaker or a prophet or somebody like that, and that they basically say, they're going to get rid of him, if he persists in doing what he is doing. Here's in one of the cases in John's Gospel in which he again proclaims the fact that he is I am, which is the name that God gives to Moses in the burning bush when Moses asks, who is this being that is talking to him, that says that this being can free the Israelites from slavery. I am, not a name in itself, not a proper name. It is a verbal expression, a verbal entity. This is who Jesus says that he is, because this is who God is in reality, existence itself. The Jews get very befuddled by this naming and don't understand it for its fullness. But then Jesus says, you will try to kill me, and I will be lifted up. And as I am lifted up, all people will be drawn to me, because in that lifting up, there will be healing, and there will be mercy and forgiveness and wonder and grace. Within that, again, it can look to Jesus on a cross as the serpent is on a pole. But again, that's not enough of a connection. It is more the sense of being lifted up in exaltation, that God sees, and that God rewards Jesus, that God comes through with the promises that Jesus says that God will make, and that God will be faithful to in raising him from death. And in that resurrection, there is life, there is holiness, there is wonder for all people. The sense in which, again, a God who does not afflict, a God who does not seek to harm or to hurt, but a God who wants to send healing, wants us to become the people that God has created us to be, wants us to listen, if only we would just bother to listen, and allow ourselves to see ourselves in a more profound and more glorious and more wonderful state than we could ever imagine. Again, this is what Lent has held out for us all the time, is the choice that Lent leaves before us as we come to its as we journey towards its conclusion? Do we want to become the people that God has created us to be, or will we remain, in our own sad and stuck and stagnant ways? A good question for us to ponder in these last days. May our response to this always be yes. We desire to become the people that God has created us to be, and in that creation, reach the great exaltations of holiness and wonder and beauty. And may the Lord give you his peace.